There's only so much you can see between the clay, the water, but it's real. And that's the important part. There's a wood structure down there. And at that point, it becomes, okay, can't stop now.
Oak Island has once again revealed a secret that could change history forever. After years of digging and centuries of speculation, the latest official excavation has uncovered something extraordinary. Evidence buried deep underground that simply should not be there. From pirate treasure to the Knights Templar, countless theories have surrounded this island, but this discovery is unlike anything before. Rick and Marty Lagina and their team may have just made the most important breakthrough in Oak Island's history. Stay tuned, because what they found beneath the surface will leave the world absolutely stunned. A discovery that changes everything. This wasn't just another random hole in the ground. Rick had a strong feeling about this spot. It sat near an old shipyard garden, the kind of place where people might have hidden something precious long ago. They weren't only chasing after old coins or rusted tools. They were searching for something bigger. Maybe a hidden tunnel. Maybe a secret chamber. Something that could finally prove all the old stories true. Then, from the darkness below, a cold draft drifted upward, like a whisper from the past. Something long forgotten, or maybe waiting. Meanwhile, across the island, two scientists, Dr. Ian Spooner and Dr. Fred Michael, were unraveling their own mystery. Testing the soil and water near the dig site, they found something strange. Tiny traces of metals that didn't belong. These weren't just ordinary island rocks. These metals hinted at treasure. Gold, silver, maybe even something rarer. Nobody could say for sure, but it was enough to make them focus all their efforts on this one place. The air buzzed with anticipation as they powered up the drill. This was it. Their final chance of the season before winter forced them to stop. If they failed now, they'd be waiting months for another shot. Everyone gathered close, waiting, watching, hoping. As the drill chewed its way into the earth, their imaginations ran wild. What if they uncovered something massive? A chest packed with gold coins, a passage to a secret chamber, a lost piece of history? Sure, money would be incredible, but it wasn't just about wealth. It was about proving that years of sweat, digging, and patience hadn't been wasted. For each of them, the search meant something personal. Some wanted to etch their names into history. Others dreamed of financial freedom. And some just wanted to prove they'd been right all along. But in the end, they all shared the same dream. A discovery they could finally hold up to the world. Hour by hour, they checked and rechecked their equipment. There was no room for mistakes now. The steady hum of the drill was a constant reminder. They were inching closer. Maybe today would be the day they made history. Every year, Oak Island grew colder, and every year the team was forced to pack up, waiting for spring. They knew the sting of disappointment all too well, drilling again and again only to find sand and mud. Oak Island guarded its secrets fiercely, but this time felt different. This time, the evidence stacked up. Strange metals in the soil, ancient maps pointing the way, and a gut feeling that wouldn't go away. Everything seemed to be leading to one conclusion. The drill kept grinding, cutting through layers of earth untouched for centuries. Each time it hit resistance, hope surged. Maybe it was wood, maybe stone, maybe something built by human hands. The deeper they dug, the more the excitement grew. Nobody dared to step away now. Not when they were this close. When the first core samples came up, the scientists hurried in. They searched for anything unusual. Bits of metal, signs of human construction, clues that this wasn't just dirt. And then, it happened. Deep in the sample, they found it. A dark, weathered piece of metal, coated in grime but clearly shaped by human hands. It didn't belong there. It was evidence. Evidence that something valuable, something hidden, lay buried even deeper. Words spread fast across the site. The crew gathered around, whispering theories and sharing their excitement. Could this be part of a larger structure? A chest? A hidden room sealed off centuries ago? The possibilities were endless, and nobody wanted to step away for even a second. The dig had just gotten a lot more serious. The drill team adjusted their equipment and kept going, eyes locked on the core samples as they came up one by one. Each new layer of earth held the potential for a game-changing discovery. The scientists tested each sample carefully, running their hands over every tiny piece, scanning for anything that didn't belong. They found more tiny flecks of gold in the soil, hints that they were close to something extraordinary. Then came the unexpected. As they drilled deeper, they hit something solid. The drill struggled, groaned, and finally stopped. This wasn't just more dirt and rock. This was something else entirely. A structure, a hidden vault. Nobody knew, but everyone knew what had to happen next. They had to dig it out. Digging near the old shipyard garden in their last dig of the season, Rick pointed out an EXC in a spot near the old shipyard garden. He was hopeful this could be their big breakthrough. They weren't just digging holes randomly. They were specifically searching for clues, possibly a hidden room or an underground safe. They planned to drill right there to see what they might find. Elsewhere on Oak Island, Dr. Ian Spooner and Dr. Fred Michael were busy with their own experiments. They'd been finding unusual metals in the area, and they didn't think these metals were naturally occurring. They'd been testing the water near the old shipyard garden and had chosen a spot for a new drill hole, which they were calling E514. They were optimistic that drilling down about 100 feet could lead them to some valuable metals. They were hopeful this could lead to discovering not only gold, but other valuable treasures too. "We're going to take one big swing, and you know we got a chance of actually finding treasure with this," said the team. The scientists were pretty convinced that the metal indications they found were significant. They believed they had found the right spot where some valuable items might be hidden. With their expert knowledge and a bit of instinct, they felt this site might be very important. The whole team was buzzing with the possibility that this could be the moment they find something really special. The excitement was thick in the air as they set up the drill, everyone wondering if this could be the breakthrough moment they'd been waiting for. As the drill dug deeper, their excitement grew. They knew this was their last shot for the season. If they didn't find anything now, they'd have to wait a whole year to try again. As the drill worked away, the team's anticipation grew. They discussed what incredible finds might be ahead. What if this spot turned out to be the breakthrough they'd been hoping for? What if they uncovered not just a few old coins or metal scraps, but a significant cache that could be famous? This effort was about more than just finding treasures. It was about proving that their hard work and years of effort were worth it, and the best was yet to come. They were aiming to drill down 50 to 60 feet, where they could then start drilling sideways and vertically too. They hoped to find a tunnel connected to this shaft, supported by some of their most promising water sample tests, which had shown signs of gold and silver. They had many hopes for this site, from finding original structures to confirming historical accounts. Everyone on the team had personal reasons for being there, from launching new projects to securing their financial futures, or just being part of a historic discovery. There were practical aspects, too. They discussed how they'd manage if they found something significant, planning who to call and what steps to take next. The day continued with the team checking and rechecking their equipment. going over their notes to make sure everything was as ready as it could be. They'd had enough letdowns to keep their expectations realistic, but hope still drove them. The continuous sound of the drill was a reminder that they were close to potentially uncovering something big. They watched, waited, and hoped that this last drill of the season would reveal the long-hidden treasures of Oak Island. Every year, when the sharp winter winds sweep across Oak Island, Rick, Marty, Craig, and their team wrap up another season of treasure hunting. And almost every time, the season ends the same way, with rising frustration and nothing more than piles of sand to show for all their hard work. They have access to cutting-edge technology and detailed maps suggesting precious metals might be buried below, yet the treasure itself remains stubbornly hidden. Each time they fire up the drill, excitement runs high, everyone holding their breath that the next core pulled from the earth will finally reveal something extraordinary. But instead, they keep pulling up the same thing: sand. More sand. Endless, dull, soul-crushing sand. The worst is when the sand mixes with thick clay. It clogs up the channels they're trying to explore and makes the whole job messier and harder. Clay not only slows them down, but also clouds the waters, literally and figuratively, of their search. Even as the temperature drops, the crew refuses to give up, clinging to hope with every new sample. Still, the endless grind of sifting through useless sand takes its toll. Time after time, hopes rise, only to be crushed by another load of worthless material. Each drill into the earth is another gamble, another moment of anticipation, another bitter letdown. What makes it harder is that every failure cuts into the precious time they have before the brutal winter fully locks down the island. As the season wears on, the chill deepens, serving as a constant reminder that their search window is shrinking fast. Long days stretch into nights filled with discussions, the crew going over results again and again, trying to stay positive even while their findings remain stubbornly empty. They wonder whether the difficult mix of sand and clay might not just be bad luck, but perhaps part of something bigger. An ancient system deliberately designed to protect whatever treasure might lie below. Maybe, they think, this tough barrier was placed here on purpose, a defensive wall meant to keep secrets buried. As the season winds down, there's still plenty of work to finish. The team has to clean and store their gear, review the mountains of data they've collected, and carefully analyze every detail. Each measurement, every piece of material, and all the drilling records are laid out on the table as they try to pinpoint what went wrong and how they can shift their approach. Their conversations are long and technical, packed with theories and what-ifs. They argue, speculate, and brainstorm about what might finally crack Oak Island's mystery next year. Everyone holds on to their own vision of the discovery that could change everything. Treasure hunting has never been easy, and more often than not, it leaves you with nothing but dashed hopes. But for Rick, Marty, Craig, and the rest of the team, it's the possibility that keeps them coming back. The thought that the next season might be the one, the dig that finally pays off. The lure of uncovering something extraordinary is just too powerful to walk away from. And so, year after year, they return, driven by new strategies, new tools, and the unshakable hope that the island's greatest secrets are still waiting to be revealed. Despite the repeated disappointments, the strong teamwork and the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of what they might discover keeps their spirits high enough to return every year. The team at Oak Island digs tirelessly, creating one hole after another in search of treasure. Despite their constant efforts, they end each season without any significant finds. Rick and Marty, who lead the group, remain hopeful with every small clue they uncover. believing they're close to finding a great treasure, meaning there could be some actual treasure just below us, and we're going to find that out this year. Stay tuned for more. This season, they focused on what they think is a man-made tunnel leading to the ocean. They suspect this tunnel might be causing unexpected water in the garden shaft area, and might have been built to protect hidden treasure. This one is a mystery tunnel. We don't know where this one goes. We don't know who did it. We don't know why. The idea is exciting, like something out of an old pirate story, clever and intriguing enough to keep them coming back. However, let's look at the facts. After drilling their 600th hole, the same pattern of results, or rather the lack of them, makes you wonder, are they really on the verge of a discovery, or are they just chasing fantasies? They point to metal traces in the water as signs of treasure nearby. Over the past 5 years, this conversation has become an annual event with them, always hoping to find something soon. Yet the holes now number 600. They believe the metal traces in the water are significant. They have experts who confirm these findings are meaningful, not just coincidences. This makes them believe even more, that these clues are leading them to a big discovery. But could it be that they're just finding things that are naturally there? They're interpreting common things as extraordinary because they so desperately want to find treasure. The end of each season is now predictable. They meet, go over their findings, which often just raise more questions than answers, and plan for the next year with a mix of hope and determination. They review their work and plan their next steps, always hopeful despite another year without major discoveries. They'll meet again, lay out all their information, theories, and maps, and discuss the possibilities with enthusiasm. The lack of discoveries is disappointing, but the odd findings keep them hopeful and ready to continue. The constant cycle of hope versus the reality of finding nothing doesn't get tiring? As they finish another tough season, they think about the small clues that keep them coming back, hoping the next drill will finally pay off. Chasing dreams in the money pit, after numerous attempts and endless speculation, the treasure, if it even exists, still seems like just an imagination. They find unusual things in the soil and water, and see patterns that might suggest something more, but these are often just natural things any land would show under such close examination. Yet they keep digging, driven by the excitement of the hunt, the bond among the team members, and maybe a bit of greed. Year after year, they return to the island, driven by stories of what might be hidden there. The money pit, that famous spot on the island, is their ultimate goal. It's the heart of their quest, the thing that keeps their dreams alive. Their quest isn't just about finding treasure. It's about the thrill of the search, the discoveries they make, and the hope that maybe this time they might actually find something big. As the Oak Island team wraps up their season, there's a familiar vibe of going through their emotions. They've been in this situation before, packing up their gear, jotting down their last notes, and turning off the drills, feeling like they've done all this many times. Despite hitting similar roadblocks, revisiting familiar hints, and repeating promises to do better next year, their optimism doesn't waver. They're already planning their return, filled with ideas about what to try next, and discussions on what might have gone wrong this time around. This year's digging efforts at Oak Island ended in disappointment again. The crew was buzzing with excitement over finding some old metal containers in a spot they called the garden shaft. They had ambitious plans to drill sideways after digging down to 95 feet. But before they knew it, the area was swamped with water. It seems like every time they get their hopes up, the result is the same. More mud and water, but no treasure. But that's not the end of it. The initial excitement was spurred by unusual readings indicating metal deep beneath the surface. Fred, one of the diggers, was pretty confident that these readings were a hint of something big hidden below. Yet, after targeting a section known as the baby blob, they ended up with nothing to show but more water. But they're not giving up hope. The plan now is to keep digging around the northeastern part, between this spot and the garden shaft, hoping fresh data might lead to a breakthrough. Aside from this, the team is also making quite a fuss about finding traces in 3 other locations near what's famously called the Money Pit area. One of these places, dubbed Aladdin's Cave, is essentially a big water-filled hole that seems to contain tiny bits of precious metals and some old wood. The way they get worked up over some wooden fragments floating in the water is almost odd. They treat these small finds as if they've discovered great artifacts, which really shows how desperate they are to find anything significant. This season felt more about stirring up excitement over what might be uncovered than about the actual discoveries themselves. Every dig seems to leave them with more loose ends and shrinking credibility. The real appeal of Oak Island isn't what they actually find, but how it keeps treasure hunters hooked, chasing the thrill of possibility instead of actual results. This determined crew refuses to give up, holding on to the dream of striking it rich, even though most of the time they come up with nothing but rocks and water. The legends and myths surrounding Oak Island also add fuel to the fire. Tales of pirates, ancient relics, and lost fortunes are gripping enough to keep people fascinated. But in truth, those very stories are the real treasures of Oak Island. They pull in TV shows, curious visitors, and tireless diggers, all lured by the hope of uncovering something huge. Yet the digs themselves usually end in disappointment. Each shovel of dirt raises the team's hopes, making them believe every small clue might lead to a massive breakthrough. More intriguing signs, still no treasure. As they move from one site to another, chasing each tiny lead, it becomes a cycle of anticipation and letdown. The whole operation, with its giant equipment, noisy drilling, and dramatic visuals, looks spectacular from the outside. It's easy for viewers to get swept away by the tension and the occasional discoveries that end up being fairly ordinary. And at the end of every season, the team ties things up with dramatic recaps, stretching minor finds into grand highlights, even though another year of digging hasn't really delivered. Old wooden fragments and scraps of artifacts suggest they might be uncovering pieces of the island's true past. In 2019, over at Borehole RF1, they pulled out hefty wooden beams with strange carvings and a pickaxe some believed had Scandinavian roots. These finds sounded like they could belong to history as far back as the Middle Ages, but in reality, they just add a little more mystery to a story that thrives more on excitement than on proven facts. Back in 2017, the Oak Island team drilled into a spot called Borehole H8, thinking they had struck gold, literally. Deep at nearly 180 feet, they uncovered scraps of parchment and what looked like part of a leather book cover. Everyone's excitement soared. Every small discovery like this sparks fresh waves of hope about what might be waiting below. But the focus is nearly always on what could be instead of what actually is. Each season delivers these little bursts of optimism, teasing that a breakthrough is around the corner. Still, after all the excitement and dramatic celebrations, the actual results end up being underwhelming. The digs keep turning up fragments that might point to something big, but most of the time they don't. It all began with two brothers from Michigan who dreamed of treasure hunting since childhood. Years later, their boyhood fantasies transformed into a massive operation with heavy machinery, large crews, and TV cameras capturing every moment. Each fragment of wood, every rusted piece of metal sparks fresh debate about what valuables might still be buried. The possibility of gold, lost artifacts, or some priceless relic of history is enough to keep everyone hooked. Layer after layer, the deeper they dig, the stronger the belief grows that something amazing is about to be found. But the ultimate payoff always feels just beyond reach. And there's more. The operations on Oak Island are as much about creating a show and telling a story as they are about hunting for treasure. Each season ends with a cliffhanger, hinting that maybe, just maybe, the next year will be the year they find something groundbreaking. Perhaps the real value of Oak Island isn't in any buried treasure. The island itself, filled with layers of dirt that hold random historical artifacts, seems to be a treasure trove of never-ending tales. These stories attract viewers every season, keeping the legend of the island alive. It's the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of the what-if, that keeps this adventure going. Today, Oak Island is like a stage for modern treasure hunters, armed with the latest technology, all trying to turn old legends into reality. The team dynamic, the camaraderie, shared dreams, and the collective drive to keep going is a fascinating story on its own. They're not just digging for treasure, they're digging for answers, trying to finish a story that started long before they got there. Every small find, no matter how insignificant, fuels the hope that keeps them going. Much like the dreams of those two young boys from Michigan who once imagined finding buried treasures. As each season wraps up, the island still holds on to its hidden tales tightly. The real treasure of Oak Island might actually be its ability to keep dreams alive, drawing people back season after season with shovels in hand and hope in their hearts, chasing what might just be an elaborately crafted tale passed down through generations. Oak Island is more than a place of historical treasure hunts. It is a place where the quest itself is the treasure, and the narrative never really ends. It just keeps adding more layers, more excitement. This cycle of hope and slight discoveries keeps everyone coming back, clinging to the belief that next time they might just uncover something truly spectacular. Could the treasure on Oak Island truly be of unimaginable value? Or is there a deeper, possibly supernatural element at play here? What do you think? Drop your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more thrilling treasure hunts.